I was saying, you want me to unmute?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay.
We can start.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. So what's up, everybody? I'm here with Wayno. I'm Coach Kenya, and it's the Free Throw Friday. So Wayno, tell everybody where free throws came from and why you wanted to start doing them again.
So I started doing free throws I think it was 2017. My intern at the time, her name is Tyra. We was trying to come up with ideas to make content, and Instagram had just kind of added a live feature that year. So what we came up with was me going live every Tuesday and Thursday and just giving people out information, but not only giving out information, um having a dialogue where people could ask me questions and I could just give them full-on consultation. There's so many different people that try to get at me for so many different things. I just wanted to have this as my way to give back. So Free Throws was basically my online consultation system, and being that we've been in the house, everybody's been in the house during this pandemic, everybody's been asking me to bring free throws back for the past 2 years. So I wanted to, kind of turn it into something.
For sure. And it's a good time too, because I feel like not only are people cooped up, but they are looking for advice. And there's been a lot of unfortunate things that have been happening,
Right.
As far as people, losing their jobs and just being in a strenuous place. So, the reason behind this is to really open up a platform to start helping people and pointing them in the right direction and giving them some hope. So we're glad you're doing this because it's important and it's needed, and not to knock all the other things that are going on in social media as far as like artist interviews and stuff like that. I think those things are important, but I also think it's super important for people to have a voice and a say and be able to get real-time information and advice about what they're going through at the current moment in time. So this is great. This is going to be some great conversations. We have a few people who are going to be joining us today.
Okay.
We have some people in the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up to a few questions. We have Brittany, who I'm going to let into the conversation right now. Hold on. Hey, Brittany, what's up?
Oh, it says an audio still connecting.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear
Hi,
me?
how you doing?
Hello. Oh my God, I'm going crazy. Oh shit.
What's up, Brittany? How you doing?
Hello. Hi.
Hi. So how are you holding up with everything that's going on, Brittany?
I'm good. I'm a teacher at a continuation school in West Oakland. So I've been more really about my kids. A lot of my kids are like in the juvenile justice and foster care and just come from really hard homes. So I'm okay. I've been lucky to have everything. I've been have a lot of blessings. I have a great home and security net. My kids don't. So that's been my biggest thing. So
Right.
I've been mixed.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Are you working from home right now too?
Yes. So I'm fully doing everything online. I'm not really pressing my kids though for to me, school right now, it's a pandemic. So I just take it how it is. I mean, if they see this, I'm not passing you just because you ain't doing the work, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. How are your kids holding up with everything that's going on? Because I couldn't imagine being a kid and having to learn through this time. It's probably tough.
I think a lot of my kids are focused on, a lot of them come from families that lost their jobs or essential workers. Being in continuation school in high school, usually you're coming from a place to where you're catching up, then you're like the A student and stuff. So a lot of times they're focused on helping their younger siblings, babysitting. Some of my kids got like eight or 7 siblings, don't have a computer, don't have internet. So there's just a lot of stress. And also too, my kids don't look like they're stressed because a lot of it is like a mixture between blunt smoking and cussing people out. But people don't really see their pain of who they are as people. So I think they're hurting probably more than they're trying to give light to. But overall, I've talked to a lot of them, text a lot of them, and they're in good spirits. So.
And well, they're lucky to have you.
Yeah, I hope so. I try. I'm not.
Yeah. So you have a question for Wayno. What's your question?
Yeah. My biggest question for the last year and a half, I've been trying to get into logistics and operations in the entertainment media. So like I have an internship with Trap Art, so I do like photo shoots, I do music production, like all of the realms of like facilitating connections within my creatives of my group. The thing is, what I guess I have the most question of is like, how do I take my homegrown network and connections and make that more into like professional? Because a lot of the people I work with don't have the capital to pay me.
Right.
I'm going back to school to like learn videography and video editing so I can get some more behind the scenes of like hard skills. But I'm just trying to see how I can take my soft skills from just being in the town of Oakland to like a broader.
So I think like the first thing that you got to do is improvise. That's first and foremost. It's like for myself, when I started a company, first time I started a company, I had no capital, no overhead, anything, and I used any resources I had in order to build it brick by brick. So what it kind of it sounds like you have a direction of what you want to do. You're just trying to figure out your A to your Z. So the in between is going to be all the little small steps. But I think like for what you're trying to do, if you're going to be doing videography and all these other things, you got to use people as your test subjects. You got to see who's willing to let you provide whatever skills that you have, free of charge or free of service, so that you can show what you're able to do, and use that as a case study, piece by piece. It's like every person that you would like to work with, you just take that and you apply. Well, you got to create a system for yourself first and foremost. So once you create a system for yourself, it might be a tier system. It might be, okay, this is what I can do on a entry level with everything I have. This is what I can do on the next level if I have a small backing behind me. This is what I could do if we can reach that space. But just do it bit by bit and brick by brick. And I think that like you'll put yourself in a better position. The thing is like just the trying part is the hardest part of it all, because the thing that the things that people don't usually tell you is that when we try things that we're gonna fail. Like, everybody says, oh no, it's gonna happen. Like you're gonna be good. Like, just no, I mean, it's not gonna be good. But the thing about it is one day it will be. And the more you take shots, or build some sort of repetition, or build routine, the more you'll get closer to your goals.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah, I think I just need to hear that because I've been really trying to do that. But I'm in Oakland. This ain't New York. This ain't like.
Hey, I feel so. Question: do you ever like during this journey? Do you ever get discouraged?
I get discouraged in terms of like I get a lot of people who I guess are pursuing me to be more on the front line. And that takes away sometimes of like me trying to do logistics or putting things together. I did an event, no one came. So I feel like that was kind of discouraging. And just two is realizing like I have my BA in economics. So like I could always go more of a traditional route with my life. So like trying to not lean into that.
But this is your passion though, right? Which you're attempting. So, and that's the thing. Just because you had an event and nobody came, but you still did the event, right? So it's like, see, that's the most important part of it, is that you actually put yourself in a position to go through the motions of even getting it done. Now, if you try to do another event, just build it person by person. Like it usually doesn't have like, I did events. It was one point in time in my career where I was trying to do events. We had this thing called the grilled cheese party. Me and a partner of mine were doing, and I mean, we did the first one. We kind of spent some time on the marketing of it. We did one, it got shut down, and then we did another one. Once it became a thing, we started doing the events. But then we did one day, and then nobody came. But that was just to kind of show us the mistakes that we had made with the other ones. So I think like, okay, you did an event, people might have not come, but you understand what it takes to do an event. What I learned, and I learned this, a lot of people don't know, I worked at a television station, along my journey. And one of my mentors, he told me that one person is a vocal point for 10 different people. So if you focus on one person, and then, okay, if you get all the information you need to that one person, then get the number two. Because the two people could bring you 20 people, if they're connected in the right circles. But even if they're not, I think that what you're trying to do, it starts with you just trying, falling and getting back on a horse numerous times. A lot of people, they look at, the end result, or they think I'm not at the end result of anything I'm doing. I don't think that I'll ever be satisfied when it comes to success. because that's just my passion is to be successful. But I think like, you know, a lot of people think that things just happen for me. I failed way more times than I've won, you know, and my failures have taught me all the lessons of why I'm able to do the things I do today. So I think, you know, as long as you're not afraid to put yourself out there, and I don't even look at it as specifically just failing, but if you're not afraid to learn, you know, let's not look at these L's as failures. Let's look at them as learning curves. If you're not afraid to do that, then you'll be fine. You just got to stay consistent.
So, well, I really appreciate it. Also, just a positive thing to you. I really enjoy your commentation of like intellectualism, common sense, and represent Black culture, and that's all I like.
I appreciate that. I mean, like you're one of the people that help me do what I do. You know, for real. I mean that.
Thank you. Well, that's it.
All right. Well, listen,
peace.
thank you.
Yes, of course. Have a good day, you guys.
You too. Be
You too.
well. Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. So that was great advice.
Okay.
We have some more questions in the chat. So this is a little similar to Brittany's question. It's from Talk of the Town talk show, and they want to know, in the beginning of your journey interning and working with different labels, although it was a learning experience, I'm sure there were times where you felt you were more passionate than the person. I'm sorry. I'm sure there were times you felt you were more passionate than the person you were working with. My question is, how do you remain passionate in the game as time goes on? My biggest fear is to finally get the job, but after working so hard, I no longer love it like I used to.
That's a very good one. So I'll say, like, you know, that's why I just asked that young lady, Brittany, if she, you know, if she ever felt discouraged. I mean, along my journey, there's been numerous times where, like, you know, when I was younger and I was interning at Rockefeller, working there, I'm working in between Rockefeller, Def Jam, Diplomats, State Property, all these different companies. I'm looking at people who are in higher positions than me, or making more money than me, and I'm saying, why not me? Why not me? Why not me? Not that I'm not hating, I'm not jealous, but I'm just saying that, like, for a lot of people who took their positions a little bit, they didn't take them serious. I wanted to be serious about it. I'll say that, you know, what kept me passionate was just my passion. It's like just holding on to what's most important to you. For me, when it came to music, because I work in music and that's what we talking about specifically as far as my journey, I never forgot what it felt like to the first time I heard Walk This Way by Run DMC, or the first time I heard Push It by Salt-N-Pepa, or my first time seeing LL Cool J, Mama Gonna Knock You Out. So as I'm this teenager interning at this company and, you know, the workload is getting heavy, I'm not making much money, I'm thinking about where I want to be, and I'm thinking about what I love that got me there. Now my passions have changed a bit. My passion is my family and my children and their future. So I'm motivated by different things, but at the time of, you know, conception of my career, I think it was more predicated about just wanting to be available. I just wanted to be a team player. My thing was a little bit different. I played on basketball teams. I never started, you know, I never was like the kid that was called in the class to speak. I never was that. So I knew that if I made this happen with this music stuff, then I would get not attention that I wanted, but the respect that I always wanted, you know. So I just kept all of these things in the back of my mind, and I never used, like, you know, my mishaps as a gauge for revenge. I really used it as like motivation for me to just be what I believed I could be and what my mother believed I could be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a tough business, right? And it's hard to stay encouraged a lot of times. So I think, like, when you have to really find the balance between the encouragement and the passion, and sometimes it's more passion that drives you because you're going through a lot of different discouragement. It's just not easy, you know?
It's really not easy, but the thing about it is nothing worth holding on to is easy. Not a relationship, not like, that's why most of the people who hit the lotto, they lose their money. I think it's a study, it's like 85 or 90% of the people who hit the lotto go broke because it wasn't their passion. I wouldn't say their passion, but people always wanted money, but they didn't work for it. So they don't really treat it with care. You know, I think that if you want to be successful, your drive, it has to be more than money, because that comes and goes. It has to be your passion has to be something that comes from within, whether that's something that you experienced as a child or something that you experience in the current time or whatever you at. I think in order to be successful and maintain being successful, you just got to hold on to what means the most to you. May that be your favorite shirt, you know what I mean? That quote your grandmother might have told you.
Yeah.
Your kids, your dog, whatever it may be, but it's for you to figure that out.
For sure, for sure. So we got another question in the chat. It's from Arnold. And he says, what up, Wayno? I like what you do. So I'm 23. I live in France and I'm super into hip hop. He just launched his own media platform. It's at Surprise Enterprises, and was wondering if it was possible to come into the game being a journalist, but at the same time trying to make music, or should he just pick one thing and stick with it?
Well, I wouldn't say you should just, well, I'll say this. You wanna do one thing successfully before you start jumping into other ventures. I had a problem myself of doing, I was at one point in time doing 7 things at once, and it felt good to be doing 7 things, but I wasn't doing one thing consistently or effectively. I was just doing a lot of stuff. So I would say, if you want to come in and be a journalist and then become a artist, or you're questioning doing both, take a page out of Rob Markman's book. I mean, Rob Markman, a great friend of mine, he runs Genius. He was at MTV for some time, but he was a journalist for years. And then he just sprung music up on us, and, it kind of threw everybody for a loop, but he's doing it because he loves it, not because he's trying to just make money off of it. I think that you should be able to do whatever your heart desires, whether that be music, sports, writing books, whatever you feel like doing, you should be able to do. But I think in order to do multiple things, you got to do one thing successfully. So I think you should pick, for now, he should pick one.
Gotcha. So this is a good one too. It's from, let me see, Vando de God. And he says, what is the smartest thing for an up and coming independent artist to do right now during the pandemic?
I think the smartest thing for up and coming artists to do during this pandemic is if you're able to invest in yourself, and that investing in yourself it can come in a multitude of ways. If you don't have a camera and you going through this pandemic, now's the time to jump on YouTube, possibly copy yourself a camera, learn some editing skills, so that you can shoot some videos and shoot some content. I think it's also important for up and coming artists to just write down their goals. I mean, just because we're confined to our homes doesn't mean we can't work, doesn't mean that we can't entertain. So if you're up and coming artist, I just think that, you should possibly do some reading, stretch your creativity a bit, stretch your mind a little bit, exercise your mind, and come back to the drawing board with some new ideas. I mean, for none of us plan to be going through what we're going through right now, because I couldn't saw this in my whole life coming what's happening right now. But I think the most important thing to do is to just stay sharp, sharpen your mind, and then everything else is going to follow behind that.
Yeah. And it's a super time to be creative. I mean, all we got is time. So
hey, I mean, look, listen, I'm still doing my show every morning with EDS. We're working on our podcast. We're working on so many different things, but we decided to do this, so this is just us stretching our creativity, and we doing it for the people, to be able to have a dialogue with them so that we can help them out. So I think take some pages out of my book if you want. I'm not mad. I'm gonna write some new books. So let's keep it going. Let's keep the motivation going.
For sure. So let's talk about the podcast a little bit, because it is coming. Right. It's definitely coming. COVID is not slowing anything down over this way.
Right.
We've just been very calculated and strategic, and we have some partners who we're working with we're going to launch it the right and correct way. So be on the lookout for Wayno's Pod. Make sure you go follow the @Wayno's Pod page and engage there with Wayno, and then Wayno obviously @Wayno119.
Right.
And hit us up. Let us know what you want to talk about. It's really a platform about mentorship, right? I think that's one of the unique things that you're doing, is that you're really giving people the opportunity to share and to learn. And that's really the best way to kind of learn anything in life is to have the opportunity to have a dialogue and be able to ask what you need to ask and just get advice from somebody who's been able to get it to work, right?
Right. I mean, the biggest thing why I wanted to even do, Wayno's Pod was is to help people. It's like, I'm not knocking how anybody else does content, but like I already talk about rap 4 days a week. I debate hip hop 4 days a week. I'm guest on all my friends' podcasts. If y'all see me on Brilliant Idiots, numerous other things I've done. But what I wanted to do was kind of carve my own lane and just tell the unconventional stories or the unconventional ways of how we get to it. Not only that, but just talk about life. I think, there's so many people that's, so heavy vetted in controversy or trying to get as many clicks as they can because this rapper just got out of jail or this rapper's beefing with that rapper. I'm more about, just people. I mean, I'm more about just people but besides all of this, I'm a human being just like everybody else. I got a family, I got a mom and a dad that fortunately enough I still have, but I still deal with people who might have lost theirs. We're going to talk about everything on it. The thing about the podcast is just to help people get through their day a little bit better and not do it, not just use one type of subject matter to do that. Because I think that we're very well versed and we talk about it into so many different things that we can educate our peers and our people on. That's what I'm doing it for.
For sure. So so we got another question from AV. I'm going to save his question because I saw him pop in the chat and I was going to let him in the Zoom, but I'm going to see if he's going to pop back. So let me just scroll. Let me pop to somebody else real quick and then we'll see if he comes back in. So AV, if you want to pop back in, we'll let you in the chat. Let's see here. So D Money Doe, he says, can you name 3 things you think we could invest this stimulus money into and start flipping? So everybody just got those checks, right?
I ain't get one. I wish I had got one. I wish I'd have got me a little, you know what I mean? Let me not say little. I wish I'd have got me a nice little, I wish I'd have got $1,200 too.
I would have took it. Hey, I mean, you know what? $1,200 is $1,200.
It damn sure is. I just spent about a good $250 in Costco, so
right.
I could use that. But I think that 3 things that you can invest in is pretty subjective. But I say this, like me and my daughter, she's 18. She just recently wanted to get in the stock. She asked me to, I gave that to her as a Valentine's Day gift. I gave her a couple dollars, and she's been putting some work into learning about stocks and investing in stocks. So you could download Acorns or Robinhood and take some of that money and look around and see if there's any stocks that's moving that you can invest in. Also, go to webinars or tutorials on YouTube or whatever other platforms that you could find that could teach you about that. Also, I think you could put that money in a CD account. It's so many different things that you could possibly put it in where it could grow. The thing is that don't think that the 1,200 is going to get you 12,000 next week.
Right.
This is something one of my coworkers that I work at Asylum with. She told me in 2011, I forgot what type of fund it was, but she said if I would have invested $10,000 in this fund in 2011, in 2020, I would now have like $80,000 or something like that. So I'm like, damn, that's pretty eye-opening. So I think it's before we take the money and start investing, start investing in some education. Get you a couple books. If you want to learn money and money markets, there's tons of information out there. So before you just thinking, oh, this is my start to me owning a restaurant, it might be, but take some time to invest in some education. Get you some books that can teach you some things about how to invest money. I'm not a financial person like that. You know what I mean? Like I have a business manager and they consult me on a lot of different things. So I would just say that to invest in some reading materials, invest in like one of my homegirls. She started a hair care product line, and she always cooks and she puts it on IG. So I hit it the other day and I was like, yo, you should start making your cookbook. I'm like, you always putting up these fire pictures of food. You know what I mean? Like people want to know how to make that. So I don't know if she got a check or not, but I think, if you cook, then invest in that. If you want to make cookware, invest in that. If you make t-shirts, invest in buying a print machine. It's all subjective to what you got going on in your life.
Got you. Yeah. I mean, I think, Listen, you could do a lot with $1,200. You could buy some podcasting equipment. You could buy a computer.
Right.
You could pay some bills. Pay your bills. Like if you have some bills, pay your bills. That's a great way to invest that money.
Listen,
pay down some debt.
I lost my 401k. Well, no, I didn't lose my 401k when I got laid off from a job I had for like 7 years. I had a 401k. It was like $5,000. I think the penalty was like $700 for me to take it. I took that money out. I purchased I purchased a MacBook, and I purchased a LLC from LLC.com. It only costs about like $400 to get yourself a company. I purchased the LLC, and I also was able to get Photoshop and all that, because I started selling clothes. I was able to get Photoshop and all of that, but I took another couple dollars and invested in a business class. And I took a business class every Tuesday and Thursday for like 6 weeks, to learn. And in that business class, I learned marketing, branding. I learned how to do cash flow statements. I learned all these different things. So it's like, it was only like, I think I ended up with like maybe $4,000, but that $4,000 investment, I didn't really make any money right then off of that, but I still used a lot of the information I retained back in 2009. I think this was when I got 2010 when I got laid off. I still got that knowledge today. So, you never know how it's going to pay off.
That's right. That's right. So I saw AB, he just popped back in for a second and then he popped right back out. So I'm going to go to one more question. And if he pops back in, I'll let you ask your own question, man. So just be patient, stay in there, and I'll let you in. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. It's from Big Poppet. He says, I've applied many times to big record companies, but have never been selected for an interview. I'm confident in my resume, but how do I stand out from the rest of the applicants if everything is submitted online?
So the biggest secret that people don't tell you about working in the entertainment industry is that it's very, very heavy on the buddy system. And a lot of the jobs that you're applying for usually are taken. The thing about it is that, if you have a great resume and all of that, you got to be a little bit more prevalent in person, which is tough right now because of the coronavirus and everything. But what I learned is like the way I got back into the industry is because I had fell out of it and then I got back into it. I managed the artist and I had some success with the artist. That's what people are paying attention to now. The same way how labels are paying attention to social media for artists is the same way they paying attention to social media or things that are moving the needle when it comes to work. If they're looking at an artist and or you figured out a way how to crack an algorithm or two, or you got some dope marketing ideas, or you wrote some video treatments, you got to figure out how to get yourself out there. If you doing all of this and you submitting all these applications and you're not getting picked, you might need to start a website. You might need to start a website and use your social media as a gauge as to get people to come view your work, depending upon what that work is. But there's no conventional way of getting a job anymore. It's different. It's not how it used to be. It's not, it's right here. Let me apply, see if they call me, go in. If you really want to get it, you got to be attacking it from multiple angles.
Right. So we have another question here is from Callie. Let me see. California hot girl. Okay. She wants to ask a question relating to how to start capitalizing on behind the scenes skill sets. So she's aspiring to be a tour manager and in other facets of music, logistics, operations, so on and so forth. She's networked with a lot of her local base, and she's good at connecting and utilizing resources, but she doesn't know how to break the barriers of trying to make this her full-time career or just knowing the right people. And she wants to know, do you have any tips? She's also going back to school for videography and so on and so forth, but she just wants to know if you have any tips.
Yeah, for a behind the scenes person, that's what I was myself, prior to being on camera. Like, I really wanted to be a person that nobody knew that could become rich one day. I think that, you just gotta put the work in it. And what did she say she was trying to do? A tour manager. So yeah. This is the thing. Unfortunately, it's looking like touring is gonna be down for the next year. So you're gonna have to pivot a little bit to something else because nobody's gonna be touring. I would say for the time when people were touring, in order to show that skill set, it kind of goes back to what I told the guy prior to this question. You got to make a category. You got to carve your way. There's 100 people that do the same thing. Like everybody, it's 1,000 people that do what I do. The thing is that I have my own distinct way. I got my own brand. For being a tour manager, you might have to create your own brand, create your own category, and brand yourself. When we're working with artists, companies always want to align artists with what? Brands. So if you become a brand and you're able to stand on your brand and your brand name, they'll come to you, but there's a lot of steps that you got to take to get to that. My tips are educating yourself. So I've been saying that a lot, but I'll say this. There's a book that I always tell, Kenya, these people should pay me for how many times I done plugged this book. It's called the 22 Immutable Laws of Branding. This is a book that I received when I was working at Channel 11 from my mentor. And I always defer to that book when I got some questions about how I could get a little bit better. But that book taught me a lot about branding, and I branded myself. And I think, I kind of foresaw, even though I didn't see myself being on camera, I kind of foresaw myself being a brand because that's what I ended up doing essentially. So I think for California Hot Girl, what she needs to do is just brand yourself. Think about your name, period. California Hot Girl. There's so many ways you can brand that. So, a lot of times when we making these at names and we signing up for these subscriptions for all these different companies, we are branding ourselves subconsciously and we don't even know it.
Right. For sure. I just had, and you can let me know if I'm wrong with this, because I'm not as well versed as you are when it comes to the whole music industry stuff, but I'm seeing now the opportunities for a lot of artists to create like these virtual experiences for their fans. That could be a lane for her. Like if you really, get well versed in that, that's just a whole new thing that's so untapped. And, go ahead.
But now I was about to say, but you see, this is why we need people to come on so we can have a dialogue with them.
Right.
Because if she could tell us a few things that she's into, we could give a little bit more insight. So, I know this is the first free throws. And if you're watching, I appreciate you, tuning in from behind the scenes, but we need you to come up here. This is why we're doing it on these platforms. I could easily just be putting Q&As on my IG story, but I'm taking my time because I want to have a dialogue with people where I could, they could speak with me and I could give them a little bit more insight.
It's like a little mastermind think tank for you. You got to get around like-minded people. Absolutely. So you can get those ideas flowing. So it's a good opportunity to tap in for sure.
We do this next Friday. I want to see more people come up here to talk.
Yeah, we got lots of questions. I know people probably felt a little hesitant about kind of popping in and being in the Zoom, but like this is what you got to do, right? To really level up and get to the next level of things. So you got to like not be shy and just do it, right?
Absolutely.
It's your chance. So I have another question here from, hold on a second. Let me just move down the list here. So this is a relevant one because there's a lot going on. It says, when everything seems to be going bad, what makes you get up in the morning?
Being awake. I ain't gonna lie. I had this conversation with one of my friends, and I asked them. I said sometimes I feel like I need to be down. Like some days, like I need to have I need to feel low. Like some days I need to I wouldn't say be sad. I don't know. Sometimes I think I need a little bit of sadness to kind of motivate me. What gets me up in the morning is just another opportunity. I don't know what my day is gonna hold. Like I don't have like a conventional type of life, so I really don't know what my day is gonna be. I really make my day into what it is, and that comes with me getting up, talking with my team, strategizing, coming up with ideas, but it all starts with me waking up. So when things is going tough, I always think about what else would I be doing? You know what I mean? Like that's what I always think. I just say, well, what else the hell would I be doing if I wasn't doing this? So that's what kind of gets me out of my bed,
Yeah. You're a pretty positive person though. And I consider myself to be pretty positive too, but I'll be honest with you, I'll be very transparent with everyone. I was having a day about a week and a half ago, and there was just a lot of stuff that was going on. And I don't know if Wayne knew this, but I was crying. And you just have And just because you cry doesn't mean you're a punk. Sometimes you're just a human being, and you have feelings. And there was just a lot going on, and this COVID thing was like 2 weeks in, and we're all cooped up at home, and we work in the people business, so it's a lot when you're mandated to be at home, and then all of a sudden it's like your whole world is flipped upside down, and then there's no people, and you're home, and then obviously there's a lot of external things going on. But long story short, I was really having a day, and I was pretty emotional, and you just called at the right time, and it was like, I have an idea, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, is like, you need people around you that will help pick you up, because you're not always going to be on top, feeling like everything's together.
It's crazy though, Kenya. Like, and the reason, like, a lot of people, I am positive, but that's because I come from a lot of like negative circumstances. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I come from, I like the place where I was raised at, because I was raised in a few different places, but like where I was raised at in Harlem, like it's nothing to look forward to when you walk outside. Like, it's really not nothing to look forward to. And that's from the time I was a kid. And I've battled depression myself. Like I didn't even know I was depressed until years later. I didn't know what the word trauma meant. I didn't know nothing about compassion. It was a lot of years of my life where I was a really cold person, a cold kid at that. So it's like, for me, the reason why I'm positive the way I am, and the reason why I try to like always look on the bright side of things, is because like I made it, like I don't look at me making it as like my pockets. That's not it. I was able to rise through all of that without going to prison. I was able to rise through all of that without catching a felony and being in the midst of all the negativity in my neighborhood. Like I said, you think about walking outside every day and there's nothing to look forward to, but you're still going outside. That means that you're looking for the wrong things to do. I've been one of those people. So it's like, going back to what a few of our guests had asked us earlier, that's what kind of motivates me. That's what kind of motivates me. A lot of people, when they be thinking about, what the toughest things that they're going through, or the toughest things that they're facing is, not to minimize what you're going through by saying somebody else is going through worse, but when you dealt a certain type of hand, you still got to play it. You're not going to clock out just because you dealt a bad hand. You got to play it. And the minute you start embracing that, the minute you start understanding that no matter how negative your circumstances may be, it's up to you to live how you want to live and put yourself in a better position. You'll be better. You'll be all right. If you don't, then you'll just be a prisoner of yourself. Right. A lot of people don't get that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of us are prisoners to our own self, not the social media. We're prisoners to the perception of what we let other people tell us is important to us. What we make other people tell us that we have to think of as validation, like a verification on Instagram, or a certain amount of followers, or having a certain type of car, or eating certain types of food. That don't make you a better person. What make you a better person is how you treat people. The best way I've been able to help myself is by helping other people. That's why I do the stuff I do.
1000%. And we were having this conversation too, the other day, just about like, perception is not always reality, which is why I think that these kind of conversations and these kind of platforms are super important, because everybody's just like, I think sometimes lives in a superficial bubble of what they think things are, and I know for me, it's so important, like, just to connect to real people who are going through real stuff and who are in real situations, because not for nothing, this is a real situation we're all going through, and it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you have money. It doesn't care if you don't have money. It doesn't care if you're Black. It doesn't care if you're white. So
I was just, it's crazy. I just, like I said, I was just at Costco, and I was telling this to my lady. I told her, I said, listen, what's the toughest thing about this? I said, people aren't being courteous to other people. Right now, everybody just for themselves. People, like, they talk about this, stay 6 feet away from people. You can't. It's impossible when you're walking around in Walmart to stay 6 feet away from people, or Costco, or any of these places. I'm still going to say, excuse me. I'm still going to say hello. I'm still going to say, have a good day. The biggest thing I've seen out of this is how it's kind of taking humanity out of people, because everybody's tapped into survival mode, and it's bad, but we ain't even going through a quarter of the stuff that certain people go through in certain parts of the world. So it's really putting into perspective how we treat people. I know for me, regardless of me wearing masks and gloves, I might not be hugging and shaking hands, but I ain't going to treat you no different than I was treating anybody before any of this started. You know?
Right. So I'm going to ask AV a question because he dipped out and he didn't come back in. So
okay,
snooze, you lose, right? But I think it's a good one nonetheless. So it's from AV. Let me see. Am I saying this right? AV, not Avenue. I'm messy. You should be on here pumping your own handle because I'm messing it up. But he says, "What's good, Wayno? I was wondering how might an artist bounce back from having to quarantine and not be able to tour?"
So this is that's a very good question. The thing is with artists is you got to save your money. You know, you got to save your money. I've had conversations with a few of my peers, you know what I mean? Some people that's doing all right in the game, and they was just saying like, you know, you can't just be leaving stuff on the table because unforeseen things happen. I think, you know, if you're an artist and your means of income was touring, and if you have some touring money, then you should start looking into investing some of that money, because nobody's not going to be able to tour until they say in the end of 2021, maybe 2022, and that's a little bit discouraging. I mean, that's discouraging on a lot of levels, because people still going to put music out, but we're not going to be able to get live experiences for some time. So the thing is like, in order for an artist to bounce back, is you better be in the crib, investing and making some good music, because you know you still got the opportunity. If you got space in your crib, you could build a little studio in the corner. It don't take nothing. You could build a little studio in the corner and get somebody to mix it right for you and put it out. But you're gonna have to rely on other means of money, and this is why, you know, when we seen that whole thing early in the year when Blueface was going back and forth with I forgot the kid, I think his name was Young Ro or something, about buying a chain is investing in yourself. Yeah, that buying a chain is definitely investing in one part of your brand, but that's the part of the brand that you can't eat. You know what I mean? That chain ain't gonna help you eat. You can't even go to the pawn shop to probably pawn it right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you making the right investments and being smart with your money is the way to go. You know, we seeing that right now, because there's going to be a lot of artists, and I'm not saying that about Blueface because I brought his name up. There's going to be a lot of artists that's not going to be able to survive this.
Yeah, man, I just feel like, God, you have that opportunity to kind of get that kind of bread and stack it away. And I mean, the rainy days come. I mean, it's pouring right now, you know, and
I've been saving. Listen, I've been saving like 90% of my checks now. Like, for real, like I'm not touching nothing. Like my business manager put me on an allowance system. Only thing I spending money on, I ain't even bought no new clothes, nothing. Only thing I've been spending money on is food and utilities for my home, like essential stuff for my home.
Yeah.
Toilet paper, you know what I mean? Like paper towels, stuff that we need in our crib, detergent. Yeah. Like I ain't buying nothing ridiculous.
The essentials. It's all about the essentials right now. And it's funny because I've been real, like, you know, conscious about every single purchase. And I don't get afraid about money, because I feel like also too, like if you hoard money, it's also a universal thing where it won't come to you. But I also believe that, you know, you have to be real strategic about how you're spending bread right now, because, man, listen.
We have to. We really have to. For real.
It's not a game. It's not a game. So, yeah. So, listen, we took the questions that we were going to take for today. Every week, 6 o'clock, it's the free throw. There'll be some cool new things that we're going to add into the show as well that are coming up. So be on the lookout. Make sure you follow at Wayno's Pod. And then, Wayno, where can they connect with you at as well?
Oh, you can connect with me everywhere, Wayno119. If there's anything that there is, it's Wayno119, and it's me. That may be Instagram, Twitter, PlayStation, whatever it is, it's Wayno119.
Right. And I just want to remind everybody that this is your platform, right? So Wayno is here to answer any kind of questions and really give you the game. So don't be shy. Keep sending those questions. We have a bunch that we didn't get to today that we will definitely get to. And if you want to be featured, you know, hit us up, let us know. You can come on, you can have a conversation. We'll exchange some ideas, and
Right.
this is why this is all happening. It has nothing to do with anybody but the fact that it's timely, and we want to make sure people have the help that they need
This for the people.
for the
Absolutely.
people, for sure. All right, so till next time, we're signing off.
We out of here.
Bye.
All right.